Hey, I am Shallalla, and I am here with my Artist Way buddy, Joe Holmes. And we're getting back into walking in this world after a couple of weeks where life just took over. And I personally find it hilariously ironic that we got stuck in week 7, discovering a sense of momentum. Joe, how did you manage to get back into things, to regain momentum?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it was momentum was easily lost by a combination of factors, and I think that's probably the same for both of us. I think there's been external events that we haven't been able to control of, and they've just seeped into our lives and then made a lot of things worse that we probably could have managed with. And so I feel like my first step was doing damage control and really looking at what's happened, why it's happened. And then I essentially looked at what I could control, what I can't control, and had to really work with that. And I ended up cutting off a load of projects and different things I was doing that weren't helping me in any way and were adding to the pressure. And I thought, okay, I need to take this all back.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't consistently get, say, like morning pages and things like that, but walking was one thing that I can do because I feel like walking gives me a natural momentum. So even when I can't do anything, that's one thing that does continue. But I know I was using things like morning pages occasionally, not in the morning, but I get, I write down, okay, so this thing's working, this thing isn't. And I thought, okay, I need to, I need to just be direct and say no to that thing, and I need to push forward. And then it got to a point where I think in the last couple of days where I thought, okay, I need to reply. I need to be, I'm like ready to the point where there's been lots of factors removed. So I've got a sense of freedom and
Yeah.
time and space and everything back. Like nothing's perfect, but say like today, linking it very closely to walking in this world, I usually go for a walk in the same place with my headphones in. We're playing music really loud, but I feel like one thing about walking in this world is you've got to be quite present. So what happened this morning is I started to work on an essay, and then something came up. I got a message from someone asking them to help with a project that had gone wrong. So I thought, oh, I really don't want to be doing this. It's thrown a massive curveball. I thought, okay, how am I going to tackle this? How am I going to get back on track? So I decided to go out in my car, do it immediately, take my dog with me. So I'd turn up to their house to collect what I needed to collect and talk to them on the driveway with the dog so I could make a quick escape. And then I went and walked the dog somewhere else
Yeah.
without my headphones in and just lovely sunshine. And it's made me feel calmer than I have in the last 3 or 4 weeks
Hmm.
because there hasn't been time for that calm, and there hasn't been a day apart from the weekends which I've just needed to completely rest, where I've had the space just to take it one step at a time.
What I really like about this is that you didn't give yourself time to like overthink things where it was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna take my dog with me as kind of like my side, like almost like we talked about. So you had somebody watching your back. So, so that in that case it was your dog, and so you didn't allow yourself to just like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? And just jumped into the car and went and did it. I think that is a very very good way to deal with things if it is appropriate, of course. I mean, I always forget who said it first, but there's a coach who said, if something takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now. That is a great advice, but if you do it like all the time, you're just getting lost in the little things. So there has to be like a middle, like a balance, like with
Yeah.
everything in life. And it's You also said something that was extremely important for me, like, okay, what can I control and what can't I control? And we were in contact regarding the the war in the middle of Europe, and that it's just like I spent, I think, 3 days just immersed with news, and I was a mess, and I wasn't able to do anything. And then there was this point where I was just like, I'm not helping anybody with being like this. And so it was just like, okay, I want to be, I want to be in the knowledge, like I want to know what's going on, but at the same time I'm also responsible for my life, that it is not like completely falling apart. And so it's tricky, but always with the question, what can I control and what can't I control? I think that is definitely what helped me a lot.
Yeah. And I felt I did the same thing. And
Mhm.
that's what initially sent me off track and made the plans I had to deal with other problems, which I knew were going to come up, but I had plans in place to solve them. But I'd say, yeah, 3 or 4 days I spent watching the news and just feeling horrified and
Yeah.
upset, and you know how it is. And yeah, it's what we can control. And I feel like, yeah, there's actions and things in the world that we can't control, but we don't control our flow of information as much as we should.
Yeah.
And I found myself doom scrolling. I learned this word from one of my lecturers who at the
Doom
start of
scrolling.
it, yeah,
Okay.
doom scrolling. So it's where you open your phone and you scroll and you look at all of the news and the updates and the negative, and you
Yes.
just keep going and everything's just making it worse. It's just too much. It's
Yeah.
you get the constant news cycle. But I was monitoring the constant news cycle because it felt so, I mean, it would feel wrong to completely shut it out. And I know
Yes.
obviously some people have that as a response or defense mechanism or whatever the reason for that is. But it was almost like when COVID hit, it would be wrong to not follow it because it was an event that was just so out of the ordinary, and to have such huge consequences, you know, that we could see in our lives,
Yeah.
or later down the line, that we were like, okay, we need to follow this. But in reality, whether you know you read a 5 minute update on it every night, or whether you're on your phone the whole day watching the news on the telly and follow it on Twitter, I mean, you'll know more, but it won't make any difference to
Yeah.
what control you have.
Yeah. What I noticed, I mean, you talk about the information flow, and actually, like the first chapter in the week is easy does it, but do it flow. And what I actually realized is that when I have to focus, when it's like, okay, I decided this is like how many hours of work I put into whatever it is that I'm working on. That is my responsibility, and so I get really focused. And so I actually realized, because I was blocking out something, because I really wanted to get into a different space, I was more focused, and I experienced more flow than I'd say like this last month, than probably in a half year before that, because there's really this focus. And then, I mean, every artist knows this, when the world falls away, and it's just such a, I mean, right now it's, I think for me it's the best thing that I can do, let the world fall away and just keep working. And when I revisited this chapter, I was like, oh, I did that, well done. And I'm really proud of myself, because I stuck to artist dates. S- sticked to.
Yeah,
uh, You know what I mean.
I know what you
So,
mean.
so I actually I'm so excited. I bought the cutest thing. It's a tiny raclette oven, and it's so much fun. I have it for 3 weeks, and I've done raclette twice since then. And it's just so much fun to like really to not stand in the kitchen and cook something and then eat something, but actually to have it at the same time. And it's, yeah, it's been the best thing for me, like to combine a necessity of life, preparing food and eating, and to have it like in this fun way. And it also connected me as a child, because when I was a child, I hated the fact that I had to sleep, that I had to eat. It was always like, I don't want to do that. It's like it's interrupting whatever I was doing, and that was really fun. And also, and I actually I can't believe that I haven't done that before. Like in all my years of the artist way or working in this world and all these things, there was a week where I was like, okay, it's not possible. I can't have an artist date. There's like no room, and I had to travel via train. And so what I decided was, I spent 20 € on the first class upgrade. And traveling first class is not something that I'm used to, so that was an artist date in itself, and that was so much fun. And uh, I told a friend, and she was like, "Oh, did you get chocolate?" I was, "No, I didn't get chocolate." And I was like, and on my way on the return trip, I actually got chocolate, and I was like super happy. It was yeah, it was like a tiny, tiny, tiny thing, but it made my day. And I had to stay in a hotel, and it was like I didn't have time to experience the city that I was in or anything. It was really just fall out of the train into the hotel lobby, go up to bed, go to sleep, and then the next day I had a meeting. And I did an upgrade, and I allowed myself to have breakfast in the hotel. And I spent like 2 hours there. I had more coffee than I usually drink in a week. And so I was really proud of myself, because I seized the opportunities that life offered me, and it was both of them actually, both the first class upgrade and the breakfast in the hotel, and also the raclette. It's really a lot of fun, and did something for my sense of optimism. Like when we go back to the artist's way, Julia Cameron talks a lot about how artist states improve your sense of optimism, and this is really something that I could feel. Like my mood would almost visibly go up.
Yeah. And there's something I really like about seizing life's opportunities and seeing artists' dates as doing that, as opposed to imagining, sometimes I felt during the pandemic, it's very much that we had to get the artist dates out of a vacuum where they were coming. We know we had to sit there, okay, what can I do? Okay, let's make this happen. Whereas now, say like you mentioned that story, but say I'm noticing things that are going on around me,
Mhm.
and my artist date experience, instead of saying, okay, I need to find something, I need to do something, it's more, oh, I see that thing happening, let me go and do that, as opposed to walking past. Or say there was a Hindu festival at university on Friday,
Mhm.
the Holi festival, which involved throwing powder paint at each other in just a big field full of people with a DJ, and the paint's being thrown everywhere, and they've got big fire extinguishers blowing the paint everywhere. And
Yeah.
so I was there to photograph it, take videos, capture all the content for social media. So I wasn't sure that morning. I put clothes on that I didn't mind getting covered in paint. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be prepared for two situations. One is that I just keep it to the edge and do my job. And the second is, okay, I do my job, and then like halfway through, I'll switch to recording on my phone and just enjoy it.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, well, this is such a rare opportunity, and I could say no because I get paint all over me, or I can just go for it. And I just went for it, and it was really fun. I skipped a lesson. I actually skipped the last lecture seminar class of the year, but I just thought, well, I can either do this class and sit there the whole time thinking I'd rather be in the sun covered in paint, or so I skipped the class, and
Mhm.
I did essentially what is an artist date. It was a new experience, and it was just surreal, really. It was one of those magical situations where you look at people around you that you've seen around, and people look at you, and you're like, you've got colored paint all over you,
Mhm.
there's orange, there's pink, there's blue, there's yellow. And it was just so much fun,
Yeah.
and so easy to see these things happening, or to be involved with them, and then just have like detachment. And I think that's what's easy for me, just to be quite detached from things. But it's like, okay, there's an opportunity there, let's seize it. And similar to that, say the university has a cinema. I've known it's had a cinema, but I never used the cinema. And the week before that, I thought, well, it kind of the cinema needs promoting. Let's like do this dual purpose thing. I'll take some photos of everyone in the cinema, and then I'll sit and watch a film. I'll go to a film I want to watch, and I saw the film, and it was fun because now I'm now happy to regularly go to the cinema on campus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's just about, for me, it's about not being detached and try to take these opportunities and give yourself that enjoyment.
I love it. And what I just actually thought, like, walking in this world is the practical art of creativity, right? And it's like, it's thinking, not thinking, this is my life and this is my art. It's like, it's interwoven, and it's like, okay, my life is my art, and I have to find ways, well, first of all, to inspire myself and to seize the day, and to get, to I really love this. I mean, I know this situation. There's a cinema, but I've never been there, and so I really love it that you that to notice the richness around you. I think that's because it is there,
Yeah.
and it's almost like, how dare you not be inspired by everything that is around you? It's yeah, and actually leads me to one of my favorite quotes ever I found in the margins, and it's something that I wrote a lot about and thought a lot about. It's in the first essay by Flonda Scott Maxwell, and I have no idea who that is, and I wanted to look her up, but I didn't. She says, "You need to claim the events of your life to make yourself yours. When you truly possess all you have been and done, which may take some time, you are fierce with reality." And I like it so much, this you need to claim the events of your life to make yourself yours. Because to me, that is, you can't be a victim. Like, you need to claim the events of your life. And that doesn't mean like that there aren't shitty situations that you rather not be in, but it's like, this is your life. It's like, it's the only thing that we have. So to say it really.
And yeah, and it's easy to just try to walk away from it and think of ways out. And that's what happened to me. We've spoken about this privately, but I found myself in like a worse place than I was in the 3 years. And all I wanted is, in metaphorical terms, was a get out of jail free card. I just wanted to have another option that I could just have like 2 weeks away from it, being completely unbothered. And as much as like, but all of those roads were telling me to embrace being unhappy, to embrace my suffering, my pain, everything I was feeling. Just like, okay, if I make this a permanent state, then I've got a valid reason to take a step back from everything. But what I realized was the healthier thing to do was to be like, okay, I know I feel like this now, and I know I feel like this 50% of the time, 70% of the time. But what I need to do is that 30 or 50% of the other time, I need to be okay with being okay, and know that I will be like that the other percent of the time. And I just need to use that other percent to tell people, okay, I might look fine now, but I'm doing my best, I am managing, and that's what works for me. And what I found is, when I was going to things and managing to be quite high functioning, getting stuff done, and people would say, are you okay? Like, they'd take me to one side and say, you're okay. And I'm like, well, I was until you asked me.
Yes.
And it was just making it, to try and bring that trying to have a more realistic awareness of myself the whole time. So, I didn't have to leave it to the chance till like they actually asked me, to realize that I wasn't 100% okay, and to try and make that consistent in the way, the way I presented myself to people.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to say, oh, I'm great now, yeah, I'm all good. when tomorrow I could be suffering from like the effects again.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I knew that it wasn't good to just run away, and I knew it wasn't good to, yeah, you just have to. I found myself knowing that being honest was the best thing to do, but
Hmm.
but then going a step further and saying, okay, right, I need to be then realistic with what I'm telling people. I don't
Hmm.
want to say that I'm completely okay when I know I'm not, you know, it's not all over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that we're going back into walking in this world, because I find this one, I said this before, the walking in this world, I think is the most healing one, where the artist's way is kind of like opening you up, and it's like, oh my God, this is like this can be my life, and things are, it feels kind of shaky, and at the same time, she, of course, she with the morning pages and with the artist dates practice, so there is a construct that holds you. But with walking in this world, it is my favorite of the trilogy, definitely, because I find it healing. I really find it healing. And if that healing means going to the cinema on campus that I otherwise would not, I think that is very, very healthy.
Yeah. And with walking in this world being healing, I think I'm experiencing similar effects to that I had in the artist way,
Mhm.
in that when it's not directly on my mind, where I'm not reading the essays and I'm not engrossed in the book, that it's in the back of my mind enough to be affecting how I act and how I reflect on things. And even though we haven't done a checking, even though I might not have been consistent with the momentum that we were meant to have in the week, I know that I've been reflecting on, say, like my place in the world, what's around me in the world, and how I can take advantage of those things. And I think it, that is the difference, because it's the practical. You have to look at it practically. You think,
Yeah.
okay, if you're going through a bad time, or if there's bad times in the world around you, now more than ever is the right opportunity to reassess what your place in the world is.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So next week, week 8, I think it is really important that we keep going, even
Yeah.
though this was like a 4 week break, and before that we had a break. It really doesn't matter, as long, you just said it. The program, it works. It's somewhere in your head, and it works.
Yeah.
And when I was like, there is something, like, there's a bigger component than just sitting there and go week by week, chapter through chapter. There is something that happens, and I can list synchronicities for hours, and there's a lot of movement, even when you're not doing it 1 week, 1 chapter per week, 1 week per chapter. And so I think the most important thing really is just to keep going. And I've heard people say that they use this 12 chapter structure with one per month, and so it takes them 1 year to go through the book. And that is not wrong. If that works for you, go for it. Like, I'd
I
be interested. Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful idea. And in fact, I feel like sometimes you need more time to really sit with it
Yeah.
or walk with it
Yeah.
and take it in and take in everything it means. And I think it applies to this more than the artist way, because as you say, the artist way does open you up. It kind of rips all your expectations and feelings and experiences open.
Yeah.
Whereas this is more of how you fit into things and your relationship with yourself and the world. And in that sense, yes, I think it's right to take it. I mean, there's no right approach, but I would understand it taking longer, because although I think sometimes, I think we do understand and we grasp it in a week, but you know, a month would just really allow you to explore that more.
Yes. And on the other side, I was just thinking, for me, who has done the artist's way for 11 times now, it would be really fun to do it in 12 days.
Oh, so
But
you
just
weren't thinking 12 months, you're thinking 12 days. You went
yes,
really the opposite of that.
but really
Wow.
just with the artist's way because I know this book basically by heart. But I think I want to do that. I have to schedule that in somewhere. Just to go for it and see what it does. It's like, what will that do to me? How will it change me? Will my brain explode? What's it's like,
Yes, and I think the difficulty is it will have some effect, and it might be much more of an intense effect on your immediate experience because you're not having a break from it. But it
yeah,
will also mean that you won't be doing as many other things. So it might work in the sense that you have to block that in, but you'll block out 12 days and
yeah,
then you can have those 12 days to be creative because you've blocked them out. Whereas you're never going to block 12 weeks out. Or maybe you can do that, but I'm just saying that it's much easier to block 12 days out than it is to block 12 weeks out.
yeah. Okay, I have to think about this, but I think there is I really like to have holidays at home. I mean, it's also a necessity regarding with COVID when we weren't allowed to travel anywhere. But so, but it's really fun. And actually, to say I'm gonna have like an artist date every day, and I'm gonna read a chapter, and I have to think about this. But this is actually like there's a part of me that says yes, 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 let's do that. Okay, but for us now, I think we covered momentum.
I think we
And
have.
week 8, chapter 8, is actually discovering a sense of discernment. And I'm really looking forward to reading that chapter
Yeah.
and
I,
to
I
check in
mean,
with
I,
you.
I don't even know what discernment means at this point.
I was trying to hide the fact that I don't know. Because I was just like, don't be the German who doesn't know what she's talking about. Okay, I can give you the like it says discovering a sense of discernment, and then it says this week poses a challenge. Are we actually able to go the distance? To answer in the affirmative, we must learn to keep certain demons at bay, most notably success, the unseen enemy. So I derive from that that discernment means like um going for it, stick to it. Are you looking
The
it up?
ability to judge well. So
Oh,
it's judgment and taste, sensitivity, perception,
well, I do
sharpness,
believe that
awareness, cleverness.
decision making is one of the like if you
Yeah,
can make good decisions, you will be a good artist. So
yeah, yeah. I think that's what it means.
so now I'm even more interested, intrigued by this chapter.
Yeah, me too. Even though it's a word I heard before, I thought I can't remember what it means.
I love it. Thank you, Joe, very, very much for your honesty and your vulnerability and showing up today with me. That means a lot. Thank you.
Likewise, thank you very much. It's lovely to. I feel like for this was our momentum because it's our momentum coming back, and I can't wait to have this conversation next week.
Me too. See